Hammer Films had some strange productions back in the day, and I do have to apologize. Betty Davis did the anniversary for Hammer, and I basically said that was her first movie with Hammer. I'm sorry it wasn't. But this movie was freaky enough that when Fran Drescher did her comedy series of the same name of this movie, she was kind of concerned because she thought maybe people would think it's kind of evil like this one. Now, The Nanny, starring, of course, the incomparable Betty Davis, is a 65 British suspense film directed by Seth Holt and starring Davis, Wendy Craig, and Jill Bennett. Davis appears in this as a supposedly devoted nanny caring for a 10-year-old boy recently discharged from a home for disturbed children. It is based on a novel of the same title by Evelyn Piper, a pseudonym for Miriam Odell, and was scored by Richard Rodney Bennett. It was made by Hammer at Elstree. Now, Joy, the kid in question, spends 2 years at a school for emotionally disturbed children after being blamed for drowning his younger sister, Susie. The school's headmaster informed Joy's father, Bill, that his son harbors an intense dislike of middle-aged women. This extends to the family's nanny, whom Joy distrusts and disrespects. When Joy returns home, he refuses to eat the meals Nanny prepares because he suspects she may poison him. He abandons the room Nanny has decorated for him and moves to one with a strong lock on its door. Joy's rude behavior upsets his neurotic mother, Virginia, who was prone to melancholy and crying spells, still grieving over the death of Susie. Nanny confronts Virginia as she did when she cared for her and her sister Penn when they were children. Now, in a flashback, Nanny leaves the house for an appointment. Joy is playing by himself with his father's model railway. Susie threatens to tell her parents on Joy for being disobedient because he's not supposed to. She wants to play with him, but he tells her to go away. She goes into the bathroom to play and accidentally drops her doll in the bath. She tries to retrieve it by reaching behind the shower curtain, but falls into the bath. Nanny enters the bathroom and absentmindedly turns on the tap by reaching through the closed shower curtain without looking inside. Unable to summon Susie for her bath, Nanny searches for her. When she returns to the bathroom, she finds Susie floating face down in the water. Her mind snaps and she bathes the girl's lifeless body. Freaky scene, by the way. Joey witnesses this, but Nanny does not see him. Eventually, she realizes that Joey knows that she accidentally caused Susie's death. Now, Joey persuades Bobby Medman, the 40-year-old daughter of a doctor living in the flat above, to witness a cruel prank. He places the doll face down in the bath, opens the tap, and persuades Nanny to turn the spigot off. She's aghast when she sees the floating doll because it reminds her of finding Susie after she drowned in the bath. Later, Joey appears at Bobby's window dripping wet and claims that Nanny tried to drown him. Now, Bill is a Queen's messenger who is frequently away on business. He flies to Beirut for a few days after seeing Joy's hostility toward Nanny fail to subside. Joy then refuses to eat the steak and kidney pie Nanny has cooked for him, so she spoon feeds Virginia the pie, which she has laced with poison. After Virginia falls ill and is taken to the hospital, Joey is blamed for the incident. Joey's Aunt Penn, who has a weak heart as a result of childhood rheumatic fever, comes to babysit. Now, after coming back to the hospital, Penn wakes during the night and finds Nanny standing outside Joey's door holding a pillow. Nanny claims the pillow is an extra one for Joy, but Penn remembers she would not allow her and Virginia to have pillows when they were children. Suspecting Nanny intends to suffocate Joey, Penn asks her what happened earlier when Joey emerged from the bathroom soaking wet. She gets overexcited and has a heart attack, but Nanny snatches her heart medicine from her. Now, as Penn lays dying, Nanny tells her she was a single mother who was called to the deathbed of her daughter, Janet, who died from an illegal abortion. Already shaken, she returned home to find Susie's body, which drove her over the edge. Nanny says she cannot let Joey live for fear that someone may believe his story and put Nanny's livelihoods at risk because people entrust their children to them. When Nanny finishes her speech, Penn is dead. Nanny tries to enter Joey's bedroom, but his alarm system wakes him and he tries to escape. Nanny grabs him by the ankle, causing him to fall and knocking him unconscious. She carries him into the bath and fills it with water. Soon the memory of finding Susie's body returns, and Nanny pulls Joey from the bath. Now, Dr. Medman visits Virginia's hospital room and explains that Nanny is mentally ill and will receive long-term care. Virginia discovers Joey is at the hospital and would like to see her. She tells him she knows everything about Nanny. Joey is no longer sullen. Instead, he hugs his mother and behaves like a joyful 10-year-old boy. So this plays like an extended Alfred Hitchcock Presents Night Gallery or whatever, but it's obvious and not so obvious yes, we know the Nanny probably did something, but we don't know what she saw or what she did, because it is Bette Davis in a Hammer horror movie. So she's not going to be the hero. She's going to be something. Now again, William Dix was in this as well, playing Joey Fane, with Wendy Craig, Jill Bennett, James Villiers, Pamela Franklin, Jack Watling, Maurice Denham, Alfred Burke, Angar Garad Aubrey, and Harry Fowler. Now, a good Hammer group got together. It was written and produced by Jimmy Sangster, with cinematography by Harry Waxman, edited by Tom Simpson, music by Richard Rodney Bennett. Now, Associated British Film Corporation, Picture Corporation, and Hammer Films and Seven Arts were the co-producers, with distribution by Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox. Now, released in November of 65 UK, but a couple of weeks earlier in the US, 27 October. Now, it only cost 1.3 million, but it made his box office money back at 2.3. Now, The Nanny has been well received by critics. It holds a 91% approval rating on movie review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, based on 11 reviews. All movie called it one of the Hammer films better non-supernatural outings of the 1960s. Now, the movie screening rights, get this, were sold to American Television for nearly $400,000. Now, obviously, this led to Bette Davis doing a lot of TV movies, because she said once, I would never do TV, but she kind of changed. But Sweet Charlotte, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, this was a horror movie, and she was in that genre. That was her third major hit, horror hit in like 5-6 years. But I saw The Nanny as a 12-year-old. I said to myself, this is Bette Davis slumming a little bit, because with a better cast, it could have made a lot of money. And it's funny this hasn't been renewed or redone in the modern era, because I think the plot is very interesting, where basically, she's bad, but we don't know why. Like, she didn't kill Susie, but technically, being absent-minded or being a little bit too old, obviously you should check when you're going into the bathroom, but it is what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for supporting the Bette Davis podcast we've been doing. If you keep on listening, we'll keep on doing it. But don't forget, Bette Davis at this point was well past or Oscar quality roles, and she was working well into the 1980s, in her 80s. And she was doing Disney movies like Witchbound and stuff like that. She was doing what do you call it? Miniseries, episodic. It was quite interesting, because Bette Davis loved to act. I have to give her that. And I think her old rival, or somewhat rival, Joan Crawford, liked to act, but not as much as Bette Davis. She took projects just to keep busy. She was a workman-like actress over the years. And the old studio system, that's all he knew to act. She wasn't going to do, product placement or ads or stuff like other people would do. But Bette Davis, my God, not my favorite actress, but my God, she has her favorites out there. And she could bring to horror. Those 3 movies is quite interesting, because what he called the fallen star, and this is what happened. So if you can find the Nanny on Tubi or different streaming, check it out. It's worth an afternoon to see Bette Davis at her horror glory, or her thriller glory. Thanks for listening. Bye.